And the Professor of Politics at the University of Sydney, John Keane, joins me now to look at the case and what, if any, changes are likely to come from it. John, thanks for coming in. An interesting performance from Rupert Murdoch again last night.
Yes, the New York Times described his performance style as rather like Mr. Magoo. Bald, forgetful, slightly bumbling. I didn't know, I don't remember, I was a long way away.
He's framing himself very much as the victim here.
Yes. But the important thing to understand from this wonderful but dead serious courtroom drama of the last 48 hours featuring Rupert Murdoch is that it's not over. It's not over for a bundle of reasons, and it might be worth just running through those very quickly because they tell us what happened in the last 48 hours. First of all, he agreed to Justice Leveson that he would read the judgment about blackmail and come back to the inquiry with a written response. That's the case concerning Max Mosley, when the judge, Lord E, found that there was clear evidence of blackmail. Rupert Murdoch claimed that he hadn't read the judgment. So that's unfinished business. The other thing that's striking about the last 48 hours is that Rupert Murdoch dropped almost every ally in it.
He has been reaching out far and wide, hasn't he?
The Daily Telegraph, Alistair Brett and Tom Crone, his two trusted lawyers, Gordon Brown, The Guardian, Le Monde, and also his housekeeper, a strange bird. I mean, he said, all of these people have documents, have stories to tell, and we're going to hear them. So I think that's a reason as well why it's not over. Third thing is that the Leveson Inquiry will report towards the end of this year, and I would find it improbable that Lord Leveson would accept Rupert Murdoch's way of reasoning through this jungle of difficulties. Rupert Murdoch claimed he knew nothing of the internal culture of hacking and of harassment of victims. On the other hand, he claimed that he ran a squeaky clean organisation that prided itself on truth and professionalism. So Lord Leveson will have much to say about the veracity of that claim. Fourth thing is that there are cases now that we're going to hear develop in the United States. Last night and the night before, Rupert Murdoch claimed that News of the World was an aberration. It was a cancer, the cells have been cut out. Andrew Neil, his old friend, Times editor, who's been in the business for a long time, said that that was a lie and that in fact there was hacking on an industrial scale. The question is whether this was confined to the UK or whether actually, as the lawyers think, there are cases likely to pop up in America, and one wonders...
And certainly shareholders have been expressing those very same concerns.
Exactly. And one wonders how far this culture, rather sordid culture, actually spread. And of course here in Australia lots of people are asking, is there any evidence that anything like that happened here? Of course News Corporation denies that vehemently. But it only takes one case, one allegation, one bit of counter-evidence to spread, I think, the enormous scandal in which Rupert Murdoch is now caught up.
Among the names to be tainted in all this is the Culture Secretary, Jeremy Hunt. Why has his head not rolled yet?
Well, we'll see. Just in the last 24 hours, it's been recommended by a key figure in the Conservative Party that this particular case should be reviewed. The question is whether there were backroom negotiations about the B-Sky-B deal with the minister who is, of course, in charge of the London 2012 Olympics. It's pretty serious business. Interestingly, James Murdoch, Rupert's son, in a very straightforward set of presentations, very businesslike, very unlike his father, actually revealed a lot to indicate lots of prima facie evidence that, in fact, these backroom dealings, what I call mediocrity, actually took place with Hunt at the centre of them.
Is it conceivable that as all this unfolds, News Corp and News International in particular are changing for the better?
Well, that was the basis of Rupert Murdoch's apology in the last 24 hours. We're a different company, and I'm sorry, because I got it wrong. And I allowed that aberration at the News of the World to happen. And it's not going to happen again. What I think is striking is that the Silk asked Rupert Murdoch repeatedly about reputational damage. And if you look at the footage, you'll see that Rupert Murdoch says more than once, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never use that phrase." But I think there are millions of people in the Atlantic region and also here who are thinking that actually enormous reputational damage has been done to the authority.
He remains a powerful man, though, doesn't he?
Of course, but whether this damages commercial interests is, I think, part of the unfinished business of this inquiry and this what's turning out to be a global media event.
All right, John Keane from the University of Sydney, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Jeremy.